Summit that is currently underway in Baku, where the government of Azerbaijan has promised to support developing countries with funding to meet their commitments under the convention. However, political tension has overshadowed the talks after Argentina pulled its delegation from Baku. Our health and science reporter Chebet Birir with this report.
COP29 summit are trying to make progress on how to raise up to $1 trillion in climate finance for the world's most vulnerable countries. According to a report from the independent high-level expert group on climate finance, the target annual figure would need to rise from $1 trillion to at least $1.3 trillion a year by 2035 if countries fail to act now.
The reality of the situation is that 1.3 trillion pales in the face of the 7 trillion that is spent annually on fossil fuel subsidies. The money is there. It is just in exactly the wrong place.
The success of this year's UN Climate Summit depends on whether countries can agree on a new finance target for richer countries, development lenders, and the private sector to deliver each year.
Not talking about how big this new climate finance goal going to be is a missed opportunity, because that signal would have helped COP29 process a lot more, where developing countries have been asking developed countries to talk about the scale of finance.
However, documents published by the UN show that the present situation is that countries and leaders are reading from totally different pages on the subject. Many Western governments are reluctant to pledge big sums. Additionally, the likely withdrawal of the United States from any future funding deal will pile more pressure on the delegates to come up with alternative funding models to meet their financing obligations.
So the outcome that we saw coming out of G20 is backsliding from the previous commitments. We saw the statement mentioning the COP28 agreement, but only in parts, and no language on transitioning away from fossil fuels. And that's a betrayal, because what we want G20 and other such summits to underscore that the world has decided to transition away from fossil fuels.
Many countries say money is essential to setting of ambitious climate goals ahead of next year's COP30 in Brazil. But reaching a deal could be tough at this year's summit, where the mood has been soured by public disagreements and pessimism about shifts in global politics. Countries such as Ghana, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Kenya have been highlighted as the most vulnerable to extreme effects of climate change. Chebet Birir, KTN News, Nairobi.
Well, that report by Chebet Birir brings News Desk to a close. I hope you've been adequately informed. I'm Ashley Missouri. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. Up next is Inside Sports.